Hello, and welcome to Winchester Recycles, your source for information and updates from our city's Department of Recycling and Refuse. I'm Mike Neese, Program Coordinator, and on this season's program, we will look at how to build an inexpensive composter and why composting is so beneficial for the environment. Compost is what remains after many organisms, worms, fungi, bacteria, and insects have finished consuming it. When you compost, you're creating a miniature version of nature's soil cycle. Just as in the forest, when a plant or its parts die, they end up on the forest floor where they decay and are consumed by worms, fungi, bacteria, and insects. The first step is to gather the needed supplies. They are a staple gun, staples, zip ties or copper wire, hardware cloth, wire cutters, and a wooden pallet. Next, we lay the pallet down and cut the cloth to fit and staple it to the pallet. Next, you make a tube out of the wire. This tube should have a circumference which will fit over the pallet without overlapping the edges and be between 3.5 to 4 feet tall. Lastly, use the zip ties or copper wire to fasten the ends of the tube to itself and the bottom of the tube to the pallet. Now your composter is ready. This style of composter reduces the need for aeration and top to bottom turning because it draws air from the bottom and flows out through the top. However, about 1 inch of the sides will be receiving too much air and will be needed to rotate it inward. Most plant material is suitable for composting. The composter should have a good balance of carbon-rich materials, or browns, and nitrogen-rich materials, or greens. Brown materials are generally brown in color, like dried leaves, straw, manure, and wood chips. Green materials are generally green and fresh, like grass clippings, vegetable scraps from your kitchen. Your compost pile will decompose more quickly if the materials are chopped up first. This style of composter is preferred for yard waste, but not food waste. Some things to add: grass clippings, leaves, flowers, weeds. Just be sure that the roots and seeds of the weeds do not go in, as they could possibly survive the composting process and end up replanting themselves when you mix the compost in your garden, flower bed, or around trees. Things to avoid: food waste and plants which have been treated with pesticides, herbicides, as those chemicals could be passed through the composting process. The finished compost can be used as a wonderful fertilizer for gardens, flower beds, and around trees. If the compost has broken down into small enough pieces, it can even be a wonderful additive for lawns. The benefits of using compost can be such that it can reduce or even eliminate the need to purchase fertilizers, soil, and other lawn nutrients. Plus, it will enable you to quit wasting the nutrients your yard already produces. Compost improves soil structure, helps in the soil's water-holding capacity, and assists in keeping your soil in a nutritional balance of nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus by feeding the microorganisms which produce them. So stop making yard waste and start making yard food. Once you're comfortable with the process of composting yard waste, refer to Winchester's website or call me, Michael Neese, at 667-1815, extension 1452, for tips on composting food waste. Thank you for joining us on this season's episode of Winchester Recycles and for helping the City of Winchester in serving you better. And remember, yard waste is a terrible thing to mind, and compost is beautiful matter.